uh, you can see what is happening. Okay, so in terms of this, okay, let's try to just do this part only. Okay, so let's consider, okay, we have to write first the HTML, correct? If at all something has to be done like this, first thing is HTML. If I am not able to understand what is in HTML, it is difficult. Okay, so I'll make it like this. Okay, since I'll just do that alone as independent. I'll just give you an idea of how to do it. No, it's actually not. We can use list. Yeah. So first I'll make a container. Okay. So let's say menu container. Yeah. In that menu container, I would like to have two elements. What is it? I would like to have an anchor element. Okay. Which acts like a drop down. Yeah. That it holds the text. Yes. As a next part, I'm going to keep li. Yeah. So let's add some three items. Okay. Item one, item two. I'm just giving a skeleton and idea. We will not implement full, we will not write full style. That is not a problem. Okay. Now what is the problem? Assume like I've written in HTML. The problem is whenever I click on drop down, this has to display. Otherwise, this should not display. Correct? Yes or no? Yeah. So we have to apply some basic CSS. Yeah, we have to apply some basic CSS, and then let's say UL list. Okay. List style type none. Border 1 pixel solid. Okay. Display inline block. See how is it coming? Yeah. Since it is an anchor tag, if we have to get one below the other, maybe let's put this in a div. Simple. I mean, we can control it with other element also, like making it display block and all. I'm just for now, let's not complicate the thing. Just understood? Okay. Things are like this. Now tell me how you will actually hide and show this. Okay. Hide and show this. Okay. So simple is again with a style. Now what I have to do in the menu container, I have an anchor tag. Correct? That anchor tag on hover. Okay. On hover, what I should do? There is actually another selector. Okay. The selector says, okay, let's say class, okay, menu items, maybe. Let's keep it as menu items. So on hover, there is actually a selector which is called adjacent selector. Adjacent selector. What I'm doing? Okay, on hover, that menu items display, display, display inline block. It's not block, right? If it block, it becomes occupies full width. Just making it. Otherwise, what I'm going to do? Otherwise, I'm going to hide it. How to hide it? Display none. See display none. And over, is it visible? Yeah, but I'm making display inline block, right? I'm making display block. Let me just check the spelling. Menu container. Okay. Menu container. Okay. On hover. Is it taking anchor tag? No, 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 that is not required. Anchor tag, hover. Okay. Plus is what actually? Correct? Yeah, I think actually this is wrong. Selector I should use tilde. Okay. Why? Because it expects an adjacent element. Okay, but I don't have anchor tag. Okay, now and I got the problem. Problem is this should be very adjacent. This is called adjacent selector or adjacent sibling selector. Okay, because I'm applying the style to which element? To, see now it's coming. Do you at least understand like it is coming? It is displaying. Yeah. So I'll simple say uh, maybe I'll make menu items as menu items as which is there in anchor tag. Oh, sorry, not menu items. Display, we'll say block. What I'm doing, I'm just making it display block so that this tag comes out. Did you understand this now? So Rakesh, this doesn't need what? JavaScript.
JavaScript.
Okay. No, this is display block is just to make this UL come down actually. That's the only thing. You want to say visibility hidden? Okay, try that. Okay, that also can work to an extent. But now there is a problem with this. Okay, see why we didn't use position only, right? Why we are talking about like okay, this needs some positioning. Yeah. So we have learned that with positioning, it is possible to overlap. Elements should be able, I mean, we can have content which is floating on top of other element. But here this is not the case. Yeah. I'll give a simple reason. Okay. Now simple example. Let's say I'll have a paragraph with 5 words. Now see what happens. It is pushing that element, which is means that this element is coming. But what if I want this element to float on top of this? Is how it is working? Wait, is it working like that? No, nothing is pushing, right? It's coming on top of the other content. How? Position. How do I position it? I'll position menu items as, yeah, yeah, I can make it relative, correct? For now, I'll make it position relative. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Okay, still pushing. Did we understand that whenever element is position relative, that space is, yeah, but since we are doing display none, it's kind of hides that element. Okay, so I'll say top 0. But anyhow, with the display none happening, like again, it happens like a shrink. But I can use a different position, which is called absolute. What is it? Absolute. Again, the reason why I used absolute instead of relative is whenever that element comes in, it is pushing that element. It is occupying that space. We knew that, okay, with our relative, it is not going to leave that space, left unoccupied, or that element is going to come. Now see what I am doing? Position, absolute. Bit of overlap is there, but I have to adjust with Z index. Who said Z index? No, I have to adjust since it is overlapping on the actual element. Okay, I'm putting it down, bit down. Correct. For menu items, maybe I can just keep some background color also. BG color, BGC, yeah, BG color. Okay, let's keep some dark. Okay, I'll say light gray. Do you see now? Yeah, now it is going. That's all. Now rest of the style is actually to make it look like exactly like this. applying border, color, width, padding, again box model. Now how you will make exact? For that you should understand box model. Text align center, color, typography, box radius. That's all you're seeing, right? Just to make so see, that is the reason I'm asking you practice box model so close that see, apart from learning on this technique, you need more strong in terms of box model properties. That is required. It's just a technique now. The technique was okay when this element is highlighted. I am so what I did here, if I have to repeat, so I added this element. I know that over as a trigger. So when over actually comes in, I am adjacent element. I am actually displaying it. Initially, I am keeping that adjacent element by displaying at none. Initially, it is not visible. Later, when over pseudo class gets added up to the anchor element, I am making this element whatever style I want. Now I just want it to be display inline block. I mean display. Basically, I have to display. Initially, I want it as display inline block. If you ask me why did you give display inline block only? Now try if I applying what happens with the display block. Okay, fine. I think for display block also it is kind of working now. But that's the thing. Yeah, since it's positioned now, it's positioned element. So I think display is actually not making, you know, it kind of yeah, it is kind of behaving like a inline block. Inline block or block, both are working the same. Do you understand now? What exactly is how we can do menu? Now there is one problem with this actually, this kind of thing. What happens? What if I put some element on top of this? I'll put one heading here. Tell me what's the problem now? So we want this drop down to move along with this menu item or this menu container. Correct? So now it is what by default it will position from viewport 00 and none of the parent element, neither this div nor this div are actually positioned. So one simple answer would be I will make this particular div, style. That's it, position relative. The immediate div I am making it position relative so that this menu item will not go out of that. It will move along with that. See now? It is moving along with that div. Now I assume you add how much our content you put. I'm just adding some content just to show you that the element will move with that particular element only. Because parent is relative, this is what is absolute. I told you the case A or case B that B and C that we discussed with absolute element. Now it is moving. Let's say you move this whole element, yeah, you give some margin 0 auto and all that. Let's try width, okay, 250 pixel. You learned some margin 0 auto and all that, correct? So let's see what happens with that. See, this element goes in the center now. Now tell me where will the menu will come now? Where will the menu items will display if I do mouse over on drop down? Top 10. Now will it come below the drop down or will it come here? If I mouse over on the drop down. It will come below this drop down. This is what is positioning. Now this is the reason I gave you this particular assignment to try that. You learned positioning, position absolute, different positioning, which one to apply. It's not that I'll do this assignment and I'll I have to get something. Oh, you all did, you know, CSS. No, through this one assignment itself, you can understand position. Yeah, you can become perfect actually if you are doing this. Now the same technique actually used for even, see for example, I told you here, maybe on a click it is coming. For example, here I told you, this is also coming like that only. But see, though on a click you are bringing the element, CSS is same, positioning is same. Positioning, like, you know, they have applied the same thing. It's just that this is not an anchor element, Rakesh. It's an anchor element, it is how it works. If it's even a click also, if this has to float on some top of something, you have to use the same technique, like the parent element has to be positioned, one of the parent element where you want this element, and this child element which is, you know, it should come, should be positioned absolute. I mean, there are again variety of combination that I have to tell you. All right. Any questions with this?